Jesus James Angleton, the way you spin that story round. Always sharp, just like a tack when you're tracking the price of the dollar and pound. But drop the narrative, that thing that you inherited. Your history homos chariot just pulled up outside. Scott, William, Patrick on the scene, they're breaking up the subroutine. Something's crackling in your brain, MK Ultra make you go insane. Hey, don't you know we're only on the case for a good time, baby? Took a rose pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby. Honey pots and psyop traps, you can trust the plan until you snap. Slop conspiracy everywhere. History homos clear the air. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Hey, history homos only on the case for a good time, baby. Took a roach pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby.
And we're live. Welcome back to the show. This week we have a nice comfy nostalgia episode. Joining me this week is William and Monica. Welcome back, guys.
Hi, morning.
Hello. Hello, mate.
I get to hear that in person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
no-
how was so how do you feel about having killed Ozzy Osbourne?
I knew they were killing him. I was like, I was surprised he made it out for a second set because he had such advanced Parkinson's that in order for him to get out there, they have to give him a ton of drugs. And there, when you get like that, there's extreme side effects. Because the guy I was with, his father died of Parkinson's. He's like, you really get fucked up. And so when I saw him, because he obviously couldn't stand up. And
Right.
At first I was like, this is sad. And then he seemed very happy. And in the end, he's like, I just want to tell you guys something. And I really thought he was going to be like, I love you. Thank you for loving me. Will you say a prayer for me? And he said, we all really appreciate your supporting our lifestyle all these years. And I was like, dude, is that really how you want to go out?
I mean, that's a refreshing piece of honesty, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it was good. Although I heard Roger Daltrey say that and Billy Idol say that. They're just
they
like,
all say
thank you
that,
for
huh?
being rich. Not that they mean to say it, but they know in their hearts that the greatest thing that ever happened to them was being really rich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of respect the sort of
Yeah.
naked honesty there. Yeah,
And gratitude, sincere gratitude.
true that.
But it
I
was
got
good.
a
It was very
ticket
good.
to the Who live at Leeds Part 2. Right.
When is that?
It was I don't know, a while back. But it was Entwistle and Moon were already dead.
Yes, of course. I've
And
seen them
so-
many times since
Yeah.
then. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I show up at Leeds Polytechnic, and they've got like a 9-piece band or something. And it was like, all right, the Who's a trio, but never mind.
Yeah, they have to
A
do
chorus
that
of
when they
black
get
women
old.
singing in the background.
They have to do that because they're getting old and Roger Daltrey is losing his voice. But
Yeah.
Bobby, who you don't know, William, but Scott knows, and his wife are meeting my husband, who William knows and Scott does not know, in Vegas to see the Who, the real last show at the end of September. So we're really looking forward to that.
Right. Well,
We like
Yeah,
the
I
has-beens. We're
walked
gonna have
out-
to go 80s music now because our 60s has-beens are dying.
Yeah.
True.
I walked out of that gig because
It sucked.
It was
during
gay.
Behind Blue Eyes, right? Daltrey.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's like a change of movement in it, and there's like a big
Key
shift in
change.
it.
Key
Yeah.
Yeah.
change.
Well, it's more than a key change. It's
It's a second part of the song. Yeah.
yeah. And right at the beginning of that is the absolute killer part of the song, and you know, when my fist clenches, crack it open, that bit. Well, when he was delivering that line, Daltrey had his back to the microphone, putting his guitar back on the stand or picking it up or something. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm leaving.
Yeah, you forget. Yeah, you don't even know. No, they yeah, it's part nostalgia, it's part fun. And what's his face is a huge dick. The guy with the kitty thing.
Pete Townsend.
Yes. So he
the
says
child
stuff
child
like
sexual abuse material stuff.
for research, for
Enjoy it.
opposition research. But he
Funnily
says
enough, that
stuff
book
like,
still hasn't come out yet, Monica.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be long. So but he
His
says
life's
stuff,
work.
yes, yes, for sure. He says stuff like, "You're welcome, Roger," like for letting. Oh, this is what he said, for letting you sing my songs.
Right.
That
you're like,
rules. Actually, that kind of rules.
He's not
actually.
wrong, yeah.
It's giga
But he's a huge dick, and I'm like, dude,
Um,
you've got your own. You know,
I've definitely told people this before, but I saw the Who 2 weeks before John Entwistle died.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
No, I
He
didn't
was-
know that.
he
That was
ruled,
probably a
man.
good show.
He is the
yeah.
best. He was the best guy in the band. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that
Also,
must have
he
been
had great song. I mean, like, how often do you have like a band where the bass player contributes like a hit song to the repertoire?
Exactly.
Like,
Not too many.
Whenever I see anyone playing a 5-string bass, I always think John Entwistle did
Poser.
all right with 4.
yeah, true that. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Bo.
Ooh.
But
Shots
yeah,
fired.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shouts out, Bo. And the entire nation of Finland. But anyway, so Monica, you
I'm big in
have
Iceland, by the way.
Oh yeah.
big in Iceland, really?
Big in Iceland. Mhm.
Yeah.
I was at one point the 7th biggest podcast.
I think
in
technically
Iceland.
anyone is big in Iceland because there's like
Yeah.
4,000 people who live there.
Right,
so if
right,
you're
right.
known in Iceland, you're big.
If
in
2
Iceland.
people are listening, yeah, then
Yeah.
you've already you make the charts.
Yeah. I think everybody knows everybody. I went drinking with some Icelandic guys once.
And
How
they
was
knew
it?
each other.
A work thing, yeah. One of them was
Were they very straightforward?
one of
with
them
you?
was the boss of a big Icelandic shipping company.
Wow,
And,
that's
yeah, we
big
got
money.
quite friendly. Got up to some
You know, it's-
hijinks.
So based about Iceland
What?
that they repudiated that debt.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
based. I forgot
Yeah,
about
it
that.
was like you are so right.
Yeah.
They probably owed like $16.
Whatever. They put the guy in jail, I think, who
Yeah, no, that
who
was based.
signed
I'm
that
just joking.
document, and they were 100% right. Ireland should have done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, Monica, you have asked us to read a piece of work entitled Report from Iron Mountain. This was the first time that I actually sat and read it. I did read it twice because it is short.
Yeah, I read it again yesterday.
But yeah, so what's your verdict? So for those who aren't aware, it was released in 1967, I believe, and it was sort of purported to be a genuine piece of documentation from a sort of Rand Corporation, Hudson Institute style the think tank from the kind that are depicted in Doctor Strangelove and stuff like that. And it sort of details this sort of internal debate that sort of very activated military industrial complex oriented social scientists would be at the time thinking, particularly during the throes of the Vietnam War, the idea that like war is like in central to society as we know it, and all of the peaceful activities that we all undertake on the day-to-day basis are sort of secondary or tertiary to war. And basically the idea that the ending, the transformation of the society into a peaceful um, society would be detrimental to like the entire fabric of society. So
Yeah.
that's the basic thesis of it, but we'll get into more on that as we go
There's
along.
so much horse shit baked into that, isn't there?
Yes, there
Yes.
really is.
Like it has that great thing that only Americans can say, which the standard of living actually rose during World War II.
Yeah, literally only
Not in
Americans.
France, it didn't.
Russia comes to mind, springs to
Well,
mind.
also,
Yeah,
they had tanked it first.
yeah,
Right.
So, and World War One. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
let's
yeah,
not
the
get
Great
into how
Depression.
ridiculous those two wars were for us
Yeah.
to be a part of. It's crazy. And I can't say us anymore. And I actually think it's the Anglo-American Israeli
sure.
Empire. Like, so I
Yeah.
can't even say uh the US. It's something more, and I don't know what it was back then, but
Yeah. Well, I think Israel's like clearly a testing ground for how the. I think they're envious of the Chinese way of doing things, and they're using Israel as a kind of testing ground for. They're using Gaza as a testing ground for what they're going to do to us.
why Chinese? What are you?
I think that they love the. I remember when the internet was new. I'm old enough to remember that, and how. Oh yeah, but in China it's all censored, and you got to use a VPN to do this. And well, and I was a complete normie then, but when Google said, "Oh, we really want to be in China, so we're going to buckle and do all this stuff that they say," so well, that's it. They're going to do that to us now because they're going to like
Yeah.
it so much.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea that the fact that there was like sort of a cultural meme that we had a better, more free access to information than anybody. I think legitimately in some ways, obviously you can't go in China, you can't like Google Tiananmen Square or whatever, but like you have probably a better access to like information related to like what an American conception would be edgy information in China than you do here, you know?
Yeah.
Well, plus the most important thing is that we have the illusion of a free press.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's no difference between Chinese internet and the American internet. It's just
But
that
we believe it.
it's just the American internet's lying to you about it, about what it is,
Yeah,
which makes
Right.
it worse.
totally.
I mean, we always go back to this famous example, but it's like if you Google Franklin scandal or you go on
Yeah.
Franklin scandal on Wikipedia, there's no page for it. It's like what? Or there's no
I think
page
that-
for what's his name?
Lawrence
Larry
E. King.
King.
For
Yeah.
Larry King, yeah. Which is like, you don't think this guy's relevant enough to have a wiki page? Doesn't like Jake Paul have a wiki page? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. But anyway, so Monica, I wanted to pick your brain about this. Where are you at with the Richard Lewin or is it Richard Lewin?
Leonard
Leonard Lewin, whatever. Um of course I gave him a more non
Goy name.
stereotypical first name. Yeah, by the way. But yeah, Leonard Lewin. So do you think it's a Leonard Lewin authorship, or do you believe that it's actually a genuine piece of documentation?
Neither. I absolutely
Interesting.
don't believe Leonard Lewin wrote it. And if you have the 1996 version. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
that's the
have it.
version I had.
It has 6 appendices of contemporary reviews. It has an introduction by Navasky, and and it has an apologia from Lewin, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly.
Yeah.
And the stories are mixed up. I believe should have gone and reread it, but the Navasky thing, he says that he and his cronies who did this satirical political satire
Right.
magazine were the ones who wrote it. Now I went and tracked down some of that satire, and it was that kind of filthy, unfunny, tongue-in-cheek liberal shit, like
Yeah.
where they get to be racist and sexist because it's so funny that people would actually be racist and sexist, but they still
Yes.
make the most awful jokes. So it was clearly satirical,
Like
totally
A. Wyatt Man.
like what?
A. Wyatt Man.
I don't know.
Well, it's like that's like one of those things. It's like, is he joking or is it? You really don't know A.
Yeah.
Wyatt Man, like the cartoonist. He's not. It's not. It's a white man is the joke. He's not
Oh,
really.
right. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
read that. Yeah.
But yeah, the guy is like not in real life. He's not like super political at all. But he made the
Yeah.
original Happy Merchant comic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but in real life, he just like, oh, that's a funny series of
Yeah, yeah.
drawings I did. You know,
Yeah, and it's probably funny. Whereas
it is. It's hilarious.
yeah, so I went to Navasky and it wasn't funny, but also the style was totally different from the report from Iron Mountain, which isn't funny at all. It never makes you laugh. It's not meant to make you laugh.
No.
A biting, parody or whatever, maybe, but
Commentary. You know.
yeah, but that's not what it is. And I also looked up what Leonard Lewin had done, and they claimed that he was a novelist, but he only did one novel. I think it was called Triage, and it came out in the 70s, which I think was a backfill to kind of give him that cloak. And so and then, of course, you have the. So I don't think Leonard Lewin did it, although he later claimed he did. But I feel like there's the introduction and one of the appendices actually contradict themselves in this second edition because it says we wrote it and then he says he wrote it. But then the other thing is, and I wouldn't take it too lightly, the John Kenneth Galbraith thing
Yeah,
where
he said he did it too. Yeah.
He said that he was invited to do it. He was consulted on it. He recommended somebody to replace him. And even if he even so this thing definitely these things were happening all over the place, and there were things that came out after, and it was kind of like in the wake of Herman Kahn, who did write stuff like this. That was the Strangelove stuff. Was
Dr.
really,
Strangelove. Yeah, the idea of a super weapon, the like doomsday device, is like a conception of Herman Kahn, which is Kubrick actually read that book and was like, oh, I got to write Dr. Strangelove based on this, you know.
Yeah, and the criticism in part was that this guy took such a cold viewpoint that he said, well, we'll lose X amount of people. But I mean, they obviously do that. Like COVID is that. We're going to lose X amount of people by our
I'm not going to say
policies.
we're not going to get our hair mussed.
Yes, exactly. And 9/11 and stuff like that. So what I think is that this stuff was happening, and the stuff in this is valid. That's true. They thought this way. The two things I would say is their basic premises, like, oh, this stuff all relies on this network of blah blah blah, was entirely just one dimensional viewing, in that their goal wasn't to preserve society, it was to preserve the existing hierarchy.
Yes.
And that's what they're saying. And then the other thing is, I think, yes, they put that stuff out there, they condition you, but I don't think some guy leaked this to Leonard Lewin. I think this in itself was a thing that they decided to put out for maybe a variety of reasons, including
It's predictive programming.
Yeah, it's predictive programming.
Yeah.
It's also makes a lot of arguments for war, or the Cold War, really. And I think that they were going to perpetuate the Cold War for absolutely no reason, and they knew it. So they needed to get people thinking, geez, like, do I really want to, overturn the apple cart? Like, I have a good job, which is how people think. And, so I think they did it on purpose. I think I don't know if, Scott, you still believe in nuclear weapons. I heard something that made me like really question it, But
Oh,
they
well,
were also convincing you that nuclear weapons were real.
me and William already cracked this case. I mean, just look at Japan.
But
Obviously,
look at
something happened to
Dresden.
them to make them
Yeah,
look
so
like
did
that.
what about Dresden?
Yeah.
Oh,
Obviously, something happened to make
I
them look like
know,
that.
but they looked like that before.
Well, we don't know.
You're right. We don't know because the Tartarians built all
Yeah.
that shit. So
You
who
seen how big their
knows?
cat flaps were?
Yeah.
They must have had tigers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, like that
Um,
church we went to, obviously built like Tartarians. People aren't, they don't need 30-foot tall
Oh,
doors.
no.
I thought that was because it's because Jesus needs it coming through the door.
Could be. He could
Takes a
be
lot of space to fill up,
tall
you
and
know,
skinny
For the White
for
House.
spirit.
yeah, spiritual level, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think nukes are real? That
Is
the
nuclear power real?
No,
That's
yeah,
my
nuclear
question.
power is real, but that's the
So why
opposite
couldn't
of
you just
nuclear
blow it
weapons.
up?
Well, if you could, so nuclear
The
power is
opposite.
slow release of the energy that you can get from nuclear power. Why not figure out a way of doing it fast? Why is that so implausible? You can make a bomb out of coal. You can make a bomb out of petrol. You can make a bomb out of anything that you
Yeah,
can make energy out of.
I guess the size of it, the containment, I feel like it's a bigger, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I just
Now,
feel
if
like
you
it's a
want to
bigger
say,
process.
are the dangers of nuclear fallout overstated? I can agree to that.
I don't know.
I mean, a
I have no
nuclear
idea.
power plant, if that goes down, if Fukushima really did go down, I think it did. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. They wash that into
Yeah.
the ocean.
Yeah,
They're
that
going to have
sucks.
to wash that into the ocean forever. When I moved to California, I bought a radiometer or whatever.
Yeah. Geiger counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but that's my principle with the nuclear. If nuclear power is real, I don't see why you couldn't make a bomb out of it. And why wouldn't the people who run our society, the most evil, nasty, vicious people on earth who run our society, why wouldn't they be like, yeah, blow up a bunch of people who rule?
Oh,
By
they
the way.
would. They did Dresden too, but Dresden
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
they didn't
very
invent it yet.
similar. What?
Hadn't invented it yet.
No,
Believe
I
me,
know.
Albert
Dresden was
Einstein would have creamed if he got to do that to the Germans. Are you kidding me?
Yes, I'm just saying Dresden was firebombed with similar results as Hiroshima
Sure.
and Nagasaki. So it could have just been
Yeah.
what happens when you suck up all the
I'm not
oxygen.
ruling it out.
I'm
Obviously.
not saying they wouldn't do it. I'm just saying they got a lot of power out of telling you that at all times you're on the verge of total annihilation because Ahmadinejad is so irrational that he's just going to start a nuclear war tomorrow.
Right.
Like, look at the Iran thing. They've been saying
total
we're 12
bullshit.
months away for decades. I remember it personally for decades. They've been saying that. Look at what they get out of the nuclear.
Well, that's what
weapon
that
thing.
flipping movie from the 80s, Threads, is about,
The
isn't
day
it?
after,
Yeah.
the morning after, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's,
that was the
pretty
Russian
dark
thing. That
one.
was Star Wars. Think of all the flywheel defense space stuff they get out of the nuclear threat.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if they weren't real, we'd have to invent it.
That's
One
true.
other, I don't want to be a fly in the ointment guy, but why did they wait till what's his name, Gaddafi nuclear de-arms before they took him out? Then, if it isn't real.
I never thought of that question. So,
And why does Kim Jong Un persist? if
Yeah,
he's
how
such
come they
a
don't
tin
fucking
pot
Well-
dictator?
yeah.
I don't know why.
I think that's the greatest place on earth. The propaganda around North Korea is that it sucks. Is that it
Yeah.
actually, when you go there, it's like literal like Hyperborea. It just rules there.
Who knows? Maybe they just all grow their own food and don't have constant. You don't have 5G and everything. You might be right. I think there may be some argument that enclaves like Vietnam and Korea and stuff that were totally annihilated are maintained to have a backup source of basically
Sure.
free labor
I could definitely see
eventually
that, yeah.
as they start ticking down one after another. The Gaddafi question, I would have to look into it to see if there was some aha moment, be like, oh, this is what happened. I accept
just
if he did
curious.
that. I just
I don't
never thought
have
about
I don't have a dog in the hunt, honestly. I just yeah. I'm also a Gaddafi enjoyer too, so
Oh
I just think it's
yeah.
a bummer
He got
that
fucked. I mean, that
yeah,
was
quite
terrible.
literally fucked
I
to
know,
death.
with a bayonet.
Yeah.
And that's why Assad had to stand his ground. I mean,
Mhm.
unless you really, you really don't want anyone to ever cooperate at like Serbia, like
Yeah.
Austria or whatever. It's like, sure, whatever, we'll meet all of your demands. Oh shit, we didn't want that. So like they just make sure that nobody ever meets their demands because you got Gaddafi and they're like, we've got to kill this guy anyway.
Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, so but a report from Iron Mountain though, I'll say this for sure. Whether or not Leonard Lewin wrote it or not, you're right. They absolutely, this is definitely articles of faith for the people that we're talking about here. This is definitely how they view the world. And just if you read that Herman Kahn stuff, which I did when I was researching prior to doing the episode for Doctor Strangelove, but yeah, they absolutely go like that shit in the movie about like, oh, we'll have like
Women,
five
yeah.
women to
The
one
40
guy.
virgins, yeah.
Yeah. Like they do legitimately think that stuff. So I'm like absolutely totally
Eyes wide
100%
shut level shit.
totally vindicate the idea that this is like how the people who run our society think.
Oh yeah,
For
but
sure.
I tell you what is a real giveaway that it's fake. Even though it's true in a
Yeah, it's
way, but
true, but
it's not
also
what
fake. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
neither of the things that it's purported to be.
Yes, agreed.
Uh, is there's fewer than 50 footnotes in it. A report
Yeah.
like that would be all footnotes all
Well,
the
that's
time,
what
wouldn't
they
it?
said, that it was originally 600 pages because of the footnotes. That's in one
Right,
of these. But and my argument is put in the footnotes.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
If the
Yeah,
guy
let's look at
really
them.
was, if the guy really was an expose, like cryptogon it or whatever, like
hmm
data dump it and let us look at it.
yeah. But
I agree. That's why Edward Snowden is totally fake. Like everything he put out was already out there
right,
and it gave no real information. Because
He
I
had a
used
weird,
to,
wacky story about 9/11 too that like just made no sense
he
as well.
did.
I can't remember like or the reason he joined the NSA or something was some kind of like insane like a
We
coincidence.
should do an Edward Snowden episode. I had so much stuff on him.
I could read his book. Yeah, just to see what it's up with him.
Yeah, it was just, but I mean, yeah, that's not your thing, right? If there isn't a book.
No, that's not
No,
true.
that's not true.
Yeah, I do all kinds of
I
stuff.
agree.
But yeah, no. So one of the things I think is interesting is that in the wake of this report coming out, ironically, almost as if to throw water on it, like you get the Nixon presidency where, at least rhetorically, he did go, "Oh, I'm doving out. Like I'm done with this war stuff and I'm going to be the peace president."
just like Donald J. Trump.
Totally, dude. um what's it called? But yeah, no, I just think that's really interesting that like that was like that's why I do think it is a really effective piece of predictive programming is because like it persisted like this book persisted through like that almost faint that the deep state did through the late 60s early 70s with the Nixon presidency where they were like, seemingly, and then also Carter too, by the way. Carter continued. I mean, I don't know that much about Gerald Ford, but Carter for sure like was another continuation of that, like, oh, we're not doing the American
Pax Americana.
imperialism. Yeah, we're not doing the American
The
imperialism.
SALT
Meanwhile,
treaties. The SALT.
right, and but not just that, but meanwhile, ironically, the CIA was going buck wild at the time. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
they
Shah, Algeria.
privatized. They privatized where they went to do the Enterprise. They
I'm
called it.
not familiar.
Oh yeah, when they went private and they did like Iran Contra, they did it all under like a bunch of shell corporations that were owned by CIA guys, and they
Oh,
called it the Enterprise.
yeah, I think I read that Carter, was it that he like fired Bush or something, or he fired 800 people in the CIA, and then that's when
Yes.
they decided it's
Hmm.
over for you,
We're
buddy.
going private. Yeah.
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 And then
And
they were like, you're not the guy.
Well, that was
yes,
the dichotomy that Truman had, wasn't it? It was going to exist either way. It was either
exactly.
going to
Yeah.
be Standard Oil and whatnot owning it, or it could
was
have
going to
the
be the United
veneer
States
of
government.
Right. And you might as well get the
government
taxpayer
control.
to pay for it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
which
Um,
irritates me.
But yeah, no, so let's talk a little bit about the contents of it. So I really dislike, again, here's the thing. This is the problem when you read it, um you go, yes, this is what they think the whole time, but then you go, but they're fucking wrong. Like everything they
Yeah.
say is like so ass
Right.
backwards. Like it's like the entire idea that like society exists so war can continue is just like it's fallacious. It's absolutely only a construction of the 20th century, but
Yeah.
they say it to you as if it's a statement of fact. And then when you look at in the mirror at your own society, you go, that makes sense. But it's not the fact. It's all of the Middle Ages, like war was a completely private, or sorry, it was like a really elite thing. And like it wasn't until Napoleon, which was, by the way, banker involved, by the way. I love how there's this movement on like the online right to be like, Napoleon was fucking based, dude.
I know. I was wondering what you guys thought of that. I was like, wow, really?
It's insane. It's absolutely unhinged that people think that. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. In Catholic school, we weren't allowed. My brother pointed this out to me to learn about Shakespeare or Napoleon.
that's interesting. I didn't
I
know
know.
that.
I
Yeah.
know. I-
But no, he literally liberalized, he was like the guy who made the Enlightenment happen. Like he literally by point of sword enlightened the entirety of Europe. And who do you think filled up the power vacuum that the church left? It was banks. And he established the first European central
like
bank.
the French Revolution that
Yeah.
before it. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. He was the one who spread the French Revolution around Europe, and banks filled the power vacuum that the church used to occupy. And it's insane that they're trying to what's the word? Rehabilitate his image now.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's Pinochet, isn't it?
Yeah, say literally. Well, you're kind of
My favorite History Homos episode, by the way. She
My
who shall
least
not be
favorite.
named.
My least favorite History Homos episode.
Well, that's why I love it, because you wouldn't even put her name on it. And like halfway through, you're like, so how long have you been working for the federal government?
But anyway, but my point being is that the only reason I went on that little tangent though is to say that it's absolutely fallacious that the idea that society exists for war. And it's like absolutely only a construction of Monroe Doctrine was a big driving force behind it.
There's a bit of what do you call him?
Smedley Butler.
There's a bit of that bloke.
Smedley Butler.
No. I'm talking the overpopulation bullshit. The
Malthus?
Malthus. Yeah.
yeah. There's a bit of Malthusianism
yes,
mixed into it.
yes. Which
But
makes
like
you
that's
wonder.
just such a lame, like lazy take that everybody just goes, oh well, overpopulation.
Yeah, TV. Yeah, TV said that there's too many people.
Yeah.
If you actually ever, I mean, I've had occasions once in a while to go to a fundraiser or whatever, maybe 3 times in my life where I've actually talked to people on the inside. One time, like some guy I knew introduced me to somebody from the Brookings Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking, I talked about Ukraine, and I was like, but I forgot that what's his face? Robert Kagan ran the Brookings Institute, and Victoria Nuland's his wife.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you know that hidden audio of Victoria Nuland plotting the coup that took out Yanukovych, whatever. The guy, his face turned red. He looked at the
He turned into an emoji.
Yes, why did you introduce me to this woman? But he did not, he wasn't covering it up. Like, I just pissed him off by saying something,
Why would you remind me of that?
But I don't even know if he
Why do you know that?
knew about it. Like, no, but I'm saying he was a true believer. Like, he thought I was wrong.
Why do you even
and
know
crazy.
FBI crime statistics, Scott?
Yes. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, these people believe a lot of this bullshit. I don't know if John Kenneth Galbraith does, but a lot of these people believe the fallacious assumptions on which this is based, and it makes me wonder if
over-socialized men.
What is it?
The over-socialized men. It's the only way they can have envisage themselves having an elite lifestyle is to like manifest this bullshit into being true by just pretending it is.
Acting if it is, yeah.
But if they base everything on untrue assumptions, it's not going to last. So what I really think it is this is like your kind of upper management, but the real people know the truth. And it's like the Bilderberg group and stuff. Like I just think it's more important that they control their members
Mm-hmm.
than that this is
Yeah.
true. Because if they really believe it and it's not true, then it would collapse probably sooner
Yeah.
than these 60 years it's been since it was written.
Me and William are friendly, were friendly at least, with a guy from the Manhattan Institute,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Seth.
what'd he
Yeah.
say?
Well, he came on to talk about something that wasn't supercharged for him for that kind of rhetoric. He came on to talk about Bernie Getz, but he did like
Oh,
get
cool. I remember that.
weirdly stiff when I just like pointed out that Bernie Getz was Jewish. Like he just like got upset that I pointed out, and he's like, "Well, he's only half Jewish," and I'm like, "Okay,
Why
all
is that
right."
even relevant, though? Why would that be relevant?
I meant more of like a physical descriptor of the guy.
Oh,
Jewish
okay.
is a
Because I don't
look.
think his behavior was
No.
stereotypical in any way.
But
of
look at the
anything.
fucking guy. Like, how could you
Yeah,
not look
okay,
at
and
that
his
guy?
name
Go,
and
"He's
stuff,
Jewish."
of course.
Yeah.
Whatever. Good for
Yeah.
him. He defended himself. Good for fucking him.
I know. I'm a Bernie Getz enjoyer. I'm not
Yeah.
shitting on him. I'm just
But
saying,
I'm just saying,
he's a
did you
little
ask this
nebbishy
guy-
guy.
Did he did the Manhattan Institute guy do you think he was a true believer? Like, because these guys, they will acknowledge the conspiracy all the way up to where, like, one guy said, "Yeah, so we have to take Erdogan out," and I'm like, well, I don't know if it's real even at that level. Although he
Yeah,
does
that
seem
guy's
like
also-
a rogue guy.
He doesn't
Erdogan.
seem like a rogue guy to me at all.
Erdogan, you don't think he
Yeah,
does
he
things on
always
his own a little
he just
bit?
runs his mouth all the time and never does shit. He like will be like, "We
He
hate
kept
Israel.
Syria going
we hate
for a long
Israel."
time.
He did. You're right.
He
But
kept that
we hate,
invasion
and
of
then
Syria
meanwhile
going.
we'll sign trade agreements with them.
Oh, did you ever hear the hidden audio of Lindsey Graham with the fake Russian guys who said that they
Yes,
were Turkish?
so funny.
So
So
telling
funny.
because he was
William,
saying,
have you
I don't
seen
care.
those? The
No.
Russian pranksters, dude, they're so funny. They keep tricking all these American politicians.
Yeah. But what Lindsey Graham said was, we need to sell you Patriot missiles, but you bought the Russian shit. So you've got to turn that off and then we can lift our sanctions and make a trade deal. That's all we care about. And I thought that was interesting because it takes a lot of, you can see at what level the conspiracy operates, what's really important to these people,
Yeah.
that everybody doesn't totally play ball. I thought that was very interesting. But at a certain point, if these guys if they believe something that is a false assumption and they are building a house of cards on that, it's not going to last. And yet we see that it has lasted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, like with this Iron Mountain hoax, is that the way it's crafted is over like what 40 years. It's a 40-year project. It's just somebody's knocked that up in a very short space of time.
True.
What? What
Somebody's
are you saying?
written it in a very short space of time. It's not.
Yes.
It's not very well written or anything.
So
But-
what are you saying about 40
So,
years?
what I'm saying is they published it through this tiny little publisher and then instantly published it through a bigger publisher as well. And
Right.
started
New York Times
leaving a
bestseller,
cookie,
which is in a
started leaving
editorial.
clues. Like in the edition I've got, it's got the history of the editions on it. So they start leaving more and more clues that it is really a satire over the years up to 1996. So it's from 67 to 96, 30 years, isn't it? That they've gone, oh, because the whole point of it is to say, oh, everyone shocked about it and have them believe that it's real, and then gradually have it become a provable fact that it was just a satire. So thereby you're getting the benefit of everybody's talking about these ideas and getting them out in the open and predictive programming and all that.
Right.
But then you go, oh yeah, but that was discredited. Oh, that's bullshit. It's not real.
Right.
Even though over time it's proven more and more that this is how they
Exactly.
operate.
Yeah. But
It's
only-
creates cognitive dissonance inside of you.
Yeah. So that's like just a little pissant project like that most people have never even heard of. They've got a 30-year timescale for that. For like,
Yeah.
it's lasted. How long has it lasted? It hasn't lasted all that long.
Well, and they keep bringing up that there were 2 fake footnotes. I've read that like 4 times. We put 2 fake footnotes in so we could point to the fake
Yeah,
footnotes and
which?
prove that the whole thing. not only that, but prove that the whole thing was a hoax. And I was like, well, but that you could also say that you put it in there to prove, so you could identify that, as like an Easter egg or whatever to see if
Yeah.
anybody's really, there's a million reasons you could do that, or it wasn't even true. There maybe it aren't, but I did read that. I think in one of Leonard Lewin's things was that the U.S. government bought 5,000 copies at the time. And I think either disseminated it internally. It was argued that they were just putting it in libraries and like, well, why would you even do that?
Yeah.
Or disseminating it internally.
Right. Here's the
so
memo.
People get on the same page. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Which totally exists, by the way. Like,
For sure.
Yeah. Like the Foreign Affairs magazine, which is the CFR thing.
Yeah.
When I was in banking, I knew an international banker, big high up guy. And he was like, oh yeah, you got to read that. That tells you what's going on. I was like, yikes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to note that was, William, to your point where they sort of throw dirt on it over and over again in order to sort of cause this cognitive dissonance between what you're looking around and seeing. Like all this stuff is like definitely implemented on a systemic level. And then on the other hand, they go, oh, but it's fake. It's fake. It's fake. But one of the things they did that I think is really interesting is that they kicked Liberty Lobby. And I don't know, Monica, if you're familiar with Liberty Lobby, they're the people who put out the Spectator newspaper magazine that Michael Collins Piper wrote for. But they had at some point bootleg sold like 10 or 20,000 copies of these things. And under the sort of I mean, I think that, I'll say this. I like the Spectator. I like Michael Collins Piper, but I think that those guys are like a little bit taking their own medicine.
They're also spooks. I believe Boris
spooks.
Johnson was editor of the Spectator for a while.
No shit. Okay.
Liberty Lobby, everything
Yeah.
I've read was that they were like the Klan, like, it
Oh,
just
for
got
sure.
so
They definitely have this. There was a guy specifically. I think it's also the same guy who is in the Institute for Historical Review, if you're familiar with
But
that.
I didn't realize that. So the Liberty Lobby puts out the American Spectator.
Yeah, not the American Spectator.
not the American
Spectator.
Spectator. Yeah.
Oh, right, because the American Spectator is the English. We're talking about two different magazines then.
Yeah.
Both called because the American Spectator is the American version of the Spectator, which is English.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
magazine.
No, I'm talking about the Spectator, which is Michael Collins Piper wrote for.
Yeah.
But,
The Liberty
anyway, I was
Lobby
just-
gets
they
a lot
also-
of bad press.
They also
Like John Birch.
major yes, agree with that. But I was gonna say they got a major win over the CIA though in the 80s, if you remember. They sued they got sued by E. Howard Hunt and won.
Yeah.
And meaning they proved that it
Wow.
had something to do with
Truth
the JFK
is a defense of slander. Yeah.
I have
Wow.
respect for the Spectator guys. I'm not trying to shit on them, but the point is that they bought into the idea, I think, that this was real, and it allowed Leonard Lewin, first of all, and second of all, the powers that be to go, hey, look how fake it is. We sued the Spectator or the Liberty Lobby for printing this without permission or whatever, and it's Leonard Lewin's intellectual property. Here it is in
Right.
court record,
And he won.
Yes, but I mean
It's
it's
the
just so easy to
Spotlight,
do,
not the
particularly in
Spectator, by the
civil
way.
court. By the way, even if
Yeah.
it's fake,
What? That you can, it's easy to win in civil court.
I would think, right? If you
Well,
like
it's much
had-
easier than criminal because you
That's
only
what I
need
mean.
the preponderance of the
Well,
evidence.
it is if you're.
Yeah.
It is in a case like that because you've got. They're not saying they wrote it, and
right.
Leonard Lewin is saying he did.
Yeah, he could just give. So here's a couple basic receipts that were pre-set up by
Yeah.
the whoever gave.
Yeah, how
you
could they
this.
possibly prove that it was government?
Yeah.
But it's the Spotlight, not the Spectator.
Oh, okay, my bad. That's why. By the way,
That's why we were
Right.
confused.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be very hard to prove especially with all the. I mean, like 3 different people kind of claim to have written it anyway. But yes,
Yeah,
it would be
but
impossible.
they
to
didn't show
prove
up
that
in
it was
court.
Yeah, a government thing.
What does that tell you? Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's funny that all these tangle webs we weave. Here comes Liberty Lobby again.
But they have
being
that thing in
the narrative.
Lewin's preamble to it and the sort of history of it. They say, "Oh yeah, it was so much a valid reflection of, yeah, it was a satire, but it was such a valid reflection of government thinking that, you know, even the president thought it was real. And so, but that's, so it's still got its predictive programming value from that, because it's saying, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's in
okay,
your brain. Those pathways are formed. There's
yeah,
nothing you can do. You just and it's so mild compared to the reality, like
yeah,
the AI that's coming down the chute. But you can tell that it says there's no substitute for war for the structure of society, and they give you some examples of things they're considering, but they also say the things that would really work we're not going to say right now because we don't want to blow it up. And
Mm,
those things would be, in my opinion, like some are like one off, like being a slave to drugs and a slave to debt, because they talk
mm,
about like euphemized forms of slavery.
yeah.
But they also like the idea of a global enemy. So you've got aliens,
yeah,
Yes.
you've got germs, you've
Right.
got um,
climate
there are
change.
other possibilities, but it for me it demonstrates one of the ideas they had was a global police force that would scare people into being loyal to their country, which I want to talk about that. But so these things, so when you see stuff like my son and I, whom you met, William,
Yeah,
we talk about like as soon as you see something like really infiltrated with DEI to the point of like meritocracy is gone and it cannot possibly function on its own merits anymore, it's because that thing
Like
no
all
longer
pop culture, you mean?
and a lot, like I see a lot of this debris removal, which they're doing at lightning speed. And there's like a tent with a bunch of people sitting under the tent watching the two guys run the machines. And so
Nice.
those are like made up jobs. And when my son and I look at that, we're like, anything that's been totally infiltrated like that, that is no longer the way you guys say, like the purpose of a system is what the system
Yeah.
does. That
yeah,
institution is no longer there to do what it says it's doing. Like those workers aren't there to work.
Right.
And so when I saw like the take a knee thing at the NFL, just kind of hobble the NFL, like almost
Hmm.
literally, and then trans stuff in sports, and um, it means that so sports to me is the analog of war. That's how
yeah,
you are
Sure.
constantly feeling in a state of war. And if they're going to start letting go that super powerful foundational element of our mind control, two-party system, war, whatever, if they're going to erode it like that, then they are there. That's loosening in its control of society, and I would say that the germs, the health stuff, the medical stuff, is the thing that's going to be the defining fear of society.
yeah.
That's definitely going to be a big piece because I mean it is a well, whatever. We're not getting into that. But I was going to say one thing about sports is I think that sports. I don't know that I totally am on page with it being an analog for war. I would say that sports is like a deracination element, program because it's like, oh, your identity is now the New England Patriots. It's not an Irish white guy from Southie.
I
Like,
always thought it was crazy that all these crackers were bananas for a team that was all black. I was like, I thought you
yeah.
guys were
That's
racist.
the
Like,
other
what?
aspect.
What the
Yes, that's the
hell?
other aspect of it.
Yeah, and
Correct.
then they made them all wear pink socks. I'm like, what? What the hell?
And they have AIDS medication commercials during the games. I
Yeah,
went over to my dad's house. My dad breathes this New England Patriots. He literally his race is New England Patriots. No
yeah.
bullshit. And sits
Red,
down,
white, and
watches it.
blue.
I happened to catch a game. I don't watch this shit anymore because it's first of all it's fucking wrestling. I don't watch fake
Yeah,
stuff.
and the
Um,
commercials are
yeah.
unbearable.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like watching my dad just sit and download the information from five multiple different medications, but five AIDS medication
Yeah,
ads
guys
in a row.
kissing.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a humiliation ritual to him. Like,
Well, I just always thought that about the pink ribbons and stuff.
Yeah.
same
The
exact thing.
Susan
Yeah.
Komen thing. I'm like, this is nuts. And they lose their jobs if they
Say
push
anything
back. They
about
not
it.
only
Yeah.
lose their jobs, but they get publicly humiliated and have to apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
sure.
I stopped watching cricket because of the BLM
You
thing.
stopped watching cricket?
Yeah, well, I watch
You
like
go to the square and watch the
junior
kids
cricket.
play? Yeah.
Yeah, that's will always
You
be
put your
basic
straw
like
hat
that.
on and you go down to
Yeah,
the the
exactly.
pergola in the middle of town.
Yeah, but
It's very quaint.
Oh, did I
area.
I forgot to tell you this, William, because we don't talk all that we don't talk on the air too much anymore. But I the other day I was driving back from the grocery store. It was maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I see on a there was a like a tennis court on the side of the road with like a little like a kind of a crummy apartment building. This is in my town. And I see there's two Indian kids playing cricket in a tennis court, and I go, "Oh no, it's over!" Like I'm like, "This is it. My town has fallen. This is the siren. This is the final what do you call it? Signs of the times now." Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
why they always focus on illegal immigration. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey guys,
for
those
sure.
people are cleaning my house. They're not crowding my kids out of good colleges.
Yeah.
it's
So,
true.
Monica, I've got you've brought up the old germs thing, and I've got an update on that, which I've just been camping.
Oh, is this the
with-
Martin
with
story?
Don't say don't say the name.
What the fuck? Did you just dox his friend?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
So it was I met a guy who he was called Martin.
That
And
doesn't mean anything. It could be
No,
Martin anything.
there's
Everybody's
plenty-
named Martin up
there's
there.
Black guy, Martin Luther King. So, and he had a lovely family, and they were in the tent next to us, and we just hung out together for the whole trip. It was great.
Shouts out.
Yeah, shout out Martin. And he was, I won't say what part of the country he's from, but he's a retired headmaster of a primary school, so an elementary school, right? And really, really nice guy. We should be a headmaster of, well, in fact, if he had been the head, as this story will reveal, had he been the headmaster of my daughter's school, I wouldn't like him. But because
Nice.
he basically he had, I mean, he's a fit guy, but he has he had a certain surgery when he was a kid that meant that he was vulnerable. He counted himself as vulnerable to COVID,
Oh, he had his spleen removed or his appendix removed.
something like that. Yeah, and so
Ugh.
he rang up his doctor, and his doctor and says, what happens if I get this thing? And his doctor told him, "Oh, you'll die." And so he went absolutely mental. And so what was interesting about it was the guy was really bitter about that because he's got himself barricaded in his house, and he thinks he's having a heart attack, right? And so his wife calls an ambulance. The ambulance man comes, and he won't leave his garden. They had to negotiate. He says, "Well, I'll come out in the garden." He wouldn't let the ambulance man in the house. He says, "This is how he."
Because he was
absolutely-
terrified of the trillions of invisible monsters that were trying to kill him that were living on this
Yes.
guy's body.
Yes, because sort of he was bound because my strategy was I just didn't know what the rules were. I didn't watch television or whatever. But because he was responsible for a school, it was
He had
his
to really
job. He
keep
had
up
to
with
know all this
Hyper-fixated
stuff,
on it.
right?
Yeah.
And because he had this health vulnerability, he was pretty tuned into it. And then his doctor says, "Oh yeah, if you get it, you'll die." And he's got like he's older than me, and he's got a younger daughter than what I've got. So
Wow.
he didn't want to die. so it's all quite reasonable. And but the ambulance man eventually talked him into coming into the garden so he could examine him. And he says, "You haven't had a heart attack; it's an anxiety attack."
Whoa.
Yeah, and he says, "But to be 100% sure, you're gonna have to get in the ambulance and come to the
Get
hospital
an
and
EEG.
get checked over."
Yeah, EKG, yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Oh, if I get COVID, I'm going to die." And he says, and Martin says, "It's like, oh well, this ambulance driver was really fat, right? And it was a mess, right? And he said, what broke the spell was he says, look, I've had it, and I'm fine."
Wow.
Just,
Wow.
If you get it, it doesn't matter. You'll be all right. So it just took someone to tell him that, and he went, and now he's really bitter about it, and he's like, it was a complete complete lie.
Wow. Well, although
So-
staying out of the hospital is more likely to save
Probably
your life than
smart,
going
yeah,
to the
definitely, yeah.
hospital, possibly. I mean, you make your own decisions, but I can see. I thought you were going to say it if you had
People
gone to
die at the
hospital.
hospital. Is all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
My mother would never go. She said, "You go to the hospital, you don't come out." Now she was older, but so the day she died,
Yeah.
95, none of that.
Yeah,
No,
that
I
reminds
agree.
me of you ever read any of those like stories about Zen Buddhist masters who go like they were suddenly enlightened? They're like
Yeah.
literally like bong,
Like-
like all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I get it. Like,
That's it. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
what it was like. And
The
honestly,
epiphany.
it's just, I'm glad that this, I mean, I don't know how widespread that is, but then after that, he was like trying to get his school open again. And
That's awesome.
but the teachers wouldn't do it. The teachers
well,
said,
they're
"No,
not going
you-
to take.
Well,
They're
they
going to
don't
take
wanna
any
go to
opportunity to not
Yeah,
work.
they don't wanna
Yeah, you
work.
kidding me? I would too.
Yeah,
No, you wouldn't.
yeah. So
No,
he's
you're
like,
right,
like,
You
went
wouldn't
from-
work. Yeah, that's stupid.
He's
No,
like,
I was double dipping, bro. I think the statute of limitations is up now, but I was double dipping.
I'm sure you paid into whatever you were getting.
For
back.
sure. Yeah.
You can have mine.
yeah. So yeah, I thought, oh, I've got to tell Monica about that because that was
Yeah, that's heartwarming. I like that. That's a good story.
Normie redemption arc. It still reads the times though, and
Yeah,
whatnot.
listen,
But that's the thing about these assumptions.
Yeah,
And what I always ad nauseum say about propaganda, like if their control over the mind was permanent, we just wouldn't need 24/7 propaganda. And now it's the alt media is
Yeah.
propaganda.
Yeah,
So
big time. Almost
I mean,
worse.
big time,
Yeah.
of course, because you believe
I'm getting
it
to the point
more.
where I see
That whole
shit on
drugs
CNN
thing,
and
yeah.
I go, okay, that's real. You know what I mean? Because I'm so used to seeing like
yeah,
some
no,
shill-
totally. And you're like, why are
some
they telling
shill
us this? Like,
podcaster who's like
Yeah.
totally 1488, you know,
Yeah.
podcast, and he's like saying something about like, here, listen, guys, we just gotta support Israel, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Shout-outs.
but it's because there's no credibility in the mainstream that they
Yeah.
have all this and then they believe it. And to the point, it's so crazy and so siloed now that the only people I ever hear saying anything remotely true are the lefties.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
You
And,
know,
like-
and
I know,
like real
libtard
facts.
redemption arc. I'm a crypto libtard now.
No,
The-
you don't know. LA is really nuts. Like they have
I'm from
TDS.
Massachusetts, man.
Yeah, but they have TDS to the point where if you don't hate Trump for the like, if I depersonify him and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not him, they get like, what? You have to hate him. He's so hateable. Look at how hatey he is. Look at him. He's orange, and it's like he's not a person. Like, stop. So the MAGA people and the TDS people hate me in the same way for the same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say.
No,
I've been throwing
the.
I've been throwing the
Doesn't matter.
libtards bones lately. I mean, like I'm like, no, listen, you just gotta hate them for the right reasons, and they they listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
like, oh,
and
I can like
reason-
have high IQ reasons to hate Trump. This rules.
Yeah.
Just teach
Yeah.
me.
When people say like at least Biden, blah blah blah, it's like if Biden.
No, at least Biden was
just the-
hilarious. Was the funniest president that has ever
Yeah.
existed, dude.
and he was just the intermezzo. Like he was just there so Trump could have 12 years
Yeah.
to accomplish the
He was there to
plan
shit his pants on
and be
television on a
person-
daily
I think
basis.
he's fit as a fiddle, by the way.
Could be. He's
Dude, look
probably
at how great he looks.
probably is the funniest improv actor in the history of the universe.
Totally. He's been gaffing his ass off for
Dude,
50
I
years.
miss
It
him
totally
so
works.
much. I saw a video of him being like putting his arm around
girl.
Elton John. No, Elton John yesterday, and he goes, "Hey, and this guy's the reason why it's his fault." That's right. No, it's the best. He goes, it's this guy's fault that we spend 50 billion years on AIDS research every year. And I'm just like, yeah.
When was that?
I don't know. It was hilarious though.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
I
just
think
like-
I think he's so dirty that this is how he got out of it because he got to pardon his entire family.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, he rules,
scandal
you're
is
right.
that he did it with an auto pen and didn't even mean to do it. The scandal is that he didn't mean to do it. Like, talk about a backhanded out.
Yeah, he rules.
Anyway.
I will
So
miss
that-
him. I will miss, just like I miss George W. Bush. I will miss the Biden.
Oh yeah,
presidency.
he was really, really good. But William, did you remember your thought?
I did, and then I forgot it again.
Oh, I'm super sad. Write it down.
No, that ruins the entire flow state of the show.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll come back to me.
fine.
But yeah, not to get off topic here, but do you remember that clip of George W. Bush saying, "I believe that man and fish can coexist peacefully"?
I don't remember it, but he was a jokester. He was a funny
He
guy.
rules. Yeah.
My mother, I got married in Austin, and my mother was always like, "You should invite George Bush. He's the governor, and it's right down the street." Like she just would do funny things like that. She's just tell him to come. He might come. Votes, and could you imagine if George Bush had come to my wedding?
That would have been the best.
It would have been the best.
I bet
but
he drinks beer. I bet he drinks mass market beer.
I saw a picture of him sitting with Angela Merkel drinking a beer, and this is rich people for you. It was overflowing. Like he just glugged it. It was overflowing everywhere, and he didn't give a fuck. He wasn't going to pick
Man
it
of
up.
the
Whatever.
people.
But I was like, yeah, he drinks beer, dude.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
plenty
did
of it.
coke. Did coke and play baseball in college.
I know, but I'm assuming he quit the coke. He would not be alive right now. He's still doing coke.
Yeah, you'd be doing fan. I know that's not true. I bet they get the
Would be
real
fans.
coke.
Yeah, but I don't think a 78-year-old person can do coke.
No.
You've
And
clearly
live.
never had real coke. Neither have I, by the way. I've only had fentanyl, probably.
I might have. I'm a lot older than you.
Yeah, that's true. The 80s is a thing.
Yeah. When I first worked at investment banking, they would show me like the maps on the wall and whatever, and they're like, look closely, and you would just see all the lines from the razors in the.
I
They would
bet.
take the pictures off the wall, and that's how investment banking culture got so crazy, and they replaced it with free Starbucks. Ah, you can't stay up for 40 hours straight on Starbucks alone. Ah. Anyway,
Oh, you can try.
that's really a tangent. That's a tangent on a tangent. So where
Yeah.
are we, guys? Is there nothing
I
to
just
talk
don't
about?
understand why there needs to be a Starbucks. Why can't you just get a kettle and some coffee and make
Same.
Or
it?
the McDonald's. The coffee is so much better. There's something wrong
Yeah.
with Starbucks. And now, I marvel at it because it's all just sugar and caffeine and all that stuff. And I'm thinking,
But girls like sweet treats.
I know, but like you also have all this like anorexia stuff and all the health stuff. Like that cognitive dissonance for me, I can't. I
No, don't
can't.
get it.
I've never ever go to
Big Dental.
Starbucks. Ever.
Big Dental. It's a conspiracy from Big Dental to get you to come in there and fix your cavities that you get from drinking
No,
Starbucks. Oh,
I hate that stuff. I will not.
yeah, no, I'm a kettle bro. I'm a French press bro, actually.
Yeah, they're good, those.
Mm-hmm.
In England, they call it le cafetière, a French press.
No shit.
Yeah, but
I would have thought it would have been like
So-
the thing that the English press.
Yes,
also-
totally.
if you get a brand
The
new one,
serviettes.
if you get a brand new one and you only ever use it for this one purpose, it's also really good for making loose leaf tea. To use as a teapot. And
Fast.
in the days when I used to use one for that purpose, I used to call it a cup of tea.
Pretty good. I like
It's
it.
an English. You have to really be English for that to be funny.
Well, no, he explained it. He set it
I know
up by
he
calling
did,
it
but
the
then it's
cafetiere.
that's too much. Too many new
Um,
thoughts at once.
Hang on. I had some other stuff about Iron Mountain too. But
Yes,
yeah. Yes, this is the thing I wanted to get to. The Malthusian stuff. So one of the
Right,
things
yeah.
that they talk about is the idea that big aggressive people are called by war. That's simply not true. They just hanged them throughout the Middle Ages or drawn and quartered them. There's the entire Monica, have I told you my theory on ghosts, by the way? I did tell you my theory on ghosts. Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Remind me.
but regardless, but there's an entire like all of the like folk mythology from the Middle Ages is based around the idea that there was a hidden criminal underclass that left no documentary trace, that were all killed. The only documentary trace of them are the records of the executioners killing them. throughout the
Were
ages
they
or whatever.
lynchings or were they?
I don't know. I mean, well,
trials?
here's the thing. Oh, the trials, of course. It was all very sanctioned, I would imagine. But if you've ever read Michel Foucault's The Invention, or it's called Discipline and Punish, very good book, by the way. I recommend it.
Really?
And it's the history of prison. It's the history of the formation of Europe going from the executioner to prison, and why he makes the very edgy case that we might have been better off just killing him. Because of course he's a communist, or I should say he's like some kind of anarchist, post-structuralist or whatever. But basically he said that the like psychic domination of prison and like the society we've built of mistrust of each other is far more psychically damaging on a societal level than having the cruel thing of killing someone who killed people.
Well,
You know
it
what
really
I mean?
reminds me of what you were saying about Russia. Like, I would rather be thought suppressed in
Right.
Russia,
Than
yeah,
here,
than
right.
Yeah.
in the U.S. Yeah.
But interesting book. I recommend it. But
I'm like, and I think this is what, because Martin's only 1 year older than me, but we both lived through the sort of move from liberalism to post-liberalism.
right.
I don't like it, and so like for instance, in those days I was out. So this was after the Google going to China thing. The next big thing that happened that I knew was a really, really bad thing, even though it was like everyone who was on my team at the time, was cheering it, was first guy who ever got locked up in England for sending a tweet, which was a guy called Anjem Chowdhury,
We have a YouTube short. Our one and only YouTube
Yeah.
short is about this guy.
who's got like a hook for a hand or something in it, and
Yeah.
he sent a tweet that said, "I wish the Sultan,
Caliphate.
the Caliphate, well." Basically, that's what he said, and so they said, "Well, he means ISIS, and so he's wishing them well. He's supporting terrorism," and he got locked up for it. And then all the people, like so-called conservatives, are going, "Yay!" I'm like, what do you think is going to happen next? Did it have been better if he really is supporting terrorism? It would, and to go back to your Foucault
just
point,
watch
it
him.
would have been better off just stabbing him with a poison umbrella on Westminster Bridge
Yeah.
or something, and not talking about it.
Or keep
But
an eye on him
Yeah, but
and
Sam
trace it.
shouts out to Sam Melia. Sam Melia is sort of lives near you, William. Actually, I think he just recently got released from prison. Thank God. But he his crime was making stickers that said something like, it was really mild too. It was like mass immigration equals mass murder or something. You know
Right.
what I mean? Something like that. It was just an anti-immigration points he was making. And yeah, he spent about a year and a half in jail at literally days after his wife gave birth to his child. And he's again thankfully out right now, but like that is, or he's getting out, I guess. Maybe he's
and that's
in the
all
process.
stems from this Chowdhury
Yeah,
thing.
that's the point I was making. Yeah.
That's what's coming.
This is what's making me crazy about the whole Trump thing is, and these are hardcore, like military guys and stuff, and I have to ask them the same question over and over again. Are you a constitutionalist or a pragmatist? And if
Yeah.
you're a pragmatist, what
Neither.
happens when we have the bait and switch?
Yeah. And like, this is what this Iron Mountain is about, in fact, and calling back to our latest
Actual
episode.
topic.
These
Oh.
are these guys, these guys who think like this Iron Mountain book is trying to condition us to think, is Benthamites.
Bentham's, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Bentham. Oh yeah, the discipline punish. One of the main things he talks about is that Bentham. What the hell is it called?
Panopticon.
Panopticon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for sure. And yeah, no, I definitely. And yeah, what society do you want to live in? Do you want to live in the one where like people who did commit? I mean, again, I have reservations about government implemented capital punishment or whatever, but like. Here's the thing, like when it's something as cut and dry as murder or child bad stuff, I'm not even gonna
Rape
say
at
the word.
all.
Yeah,
You can't fucking
yeah,
rape
yeah.
people.
Like, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like do you want to live in the society where, because it's like it seems, and maybe I'm crazy for this, it seems like part and parcel with the liberal, humane treatment to prisoners society kind of goes hand in glove with criminalized speech. You know what I mean? At what
Yeah.
point, if we're going to treat the people who murder people with humanity, at what point does saying something be inhumane? Ergo, you get the same treatment as the guy who murdered somebody.
Like,
Yeah, well,
because
that's true. You get longer sentence for
yeah,
making a
well,
sticker than you do for fiddling with a kid in this country.
Literally.
here's the thing. When you have, or like the guy who blew the whistle on Jeffrey Epstein spent more time in jail than Jeffrey Epstein
Right.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the more you have a robust prison system, court system, a system, it gets fed, and then you can expand what is considered a crime. So the two ways
Yeah.
to deal with the only two crimes, which is touching me or my stuff, there's just two crimes,
Mhm.
and I can't think of another one, is you touch me and execution, you touch my stuff, and actually the answer is servitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah.
they have to make recompense to you. And yeah, that would solve the problem. But to your point of like, what kind of society do you want to live in
Right.
on the Report from Iron Mountain thing? I want to live in the society that we are capable of living in on the shoulders of the people who have gone before and have left it to us generously. So like I go to England and I have a friend who lives in a house where
right
like
here.
there's I don't even know if he lives in a house. Where there's a cornerstone
Cottage.
that says like 1643 or something
Yeah.
on his house. Like it's a brick house.
Mhm.
And then I realized what like brick shit house meant. Like it's never going to fall down. It's
Yeah.
Right.
tight. And so, except for new people being born, we have all the houses we need. Like we have everything
yeah.
we need. And if they talk about how do you dismantle all this shit, and people say that now, like it's system's too complicated. We need the technocracy, whatever, and or like we have to have the AI foot on the accelerator so other people don't get it, or we are ahead of them. Blah blah blah. But it's like Ron Paul said, you march they're like, how do we end the war? It's like you just march your soldiers out.
Yeah.
You march them in, march them out. And with this, it would be attrition. You would just let shit fall away. If they had frozen the defense budget in 1967 when this came out, frozen the defense budget, there would be nothing. It would actually be a rational defense budget at this point.
Yeah.
You would
Yeah.
actually it would be defensive. So it's not necessary to have radical change. I still believe society is self-ordering, is organic, or can be.
It tends to be.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's deliberately foiled from the top and they now have the technology to really do that effectively. And of course, then you have to deal with that reality, unfortunately.
I've from a young age, I always thought that there's other. I think that some of the much reviled medieval punishments, short of capital punishment, are far preferable to prisons. Like putting people in the stocks.
Stocks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Stuff like that.
social enforcement of behavior, yeah.
Yeah.
Have people chuck tomatoes at you for an afternoon.
Yeah.
Better
Even
than
just
paying a
standing
big
in it is
fine
pretty
or something.
humiliating, honestly, without the tomato throwing part.
Yeah. It's humiliating, and you are exposed.
Yeah.
Like literally and and figuratively, and that is a super powerful thing. And I remember when I first had my show and I had a blog, and somebody wrote a really nasty comment, and I had a thing where I had to approve every single comment. So he saw that the comment did not appear, and it
Yeah.
had been anonymous. So he rewrote the comment using his name so that it would actually appear. And when he wrote it using his name, it was extremely polite and thoughtful and rational. And the first one was, "You bitch, stupid cunt," whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. And I was like, wow, like lowest form of life, in my opinion. However, it is a sign of like human nature and being humiliated. The anonymity online, you can see it makes people's behavior much worse.
Yeah. I just read yeah.
I'm right here.
Yeah. Have you read Monica? I just read a book called Debt by David Graeber, and it talks about how what did the hell did he refer to it? But pre the use of cash or hard money coinage, particularly in Ireland, they had honor currency essentially, and like it was all debt based, but more importantly, it was like what you like you would sort of repay your debts like for like real goods and stuff with like being a well-renowned warrior and stuff like that or
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
So your name really was currency in some ways. Like
Yeah, and isn't that how it should be?
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Wouldn't that
I
be
think
great?
David Graeber was sort of advocating for that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and if what you're doing is no longer valued, you would stop doing it, and you'd do more of it or less of
Right.
it.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
can't read Hans Hermann Hoppe because his writing is so bad and boring. But I
but his books are short.
didn't seem it to me.
I liked it because this is what I think about all philosophy. That's why I think you should read it at the end of your life. Everything I read was like, I never heard anyone say this before, but I was thinking that. So
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah.
need to write very well for me to be like, yeah,
But-
true.
Yeah, so I only threw that in as a gag prior to saying that, there's a lot to be said for the feudal type system where instead of having this big prison industrial complex thing, you've just got one guy who lives near you, who's got the powers of the high, the middle, and the low justice. And will he fuck up sometimes? Sure, yeah, he will, but he can impose sentences that are appropriate to the crime and
The
the
context
criminal.
of the society in which you inhabit.
Yeah, and and there's something to be said for that. But if the one that you're living under is a dickhead, then you've got a problem. Haven't
Yeah,
you?
then you're fucked. Yeah.
Well,
Fail,
the thing
son.
This stuff is all too big. Like the systems are
Yeah.
too big. They,
sure.
the Civil War. I remember when I was a kid thinking, gosh, the way you're taught is like, could you imagine if the North had not won the Civil War? We would be two countries. And I was like 12 years old, and I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be terrible. And I thought, like, what, how, why? And I was like, you know what? It might have been okay. And I remember
Aaron
my
Burr.
dad saying, like, I never heard anybody say that before.
Aaron
Yeah.
Burr. Aaron Burr almost had the royal the American kingdom
Yeah, he
in
wanted like
in
a feudal
Louisiana.
state, didn't he? Yeah,
Yeah, he did. And I think that would have been a cool experiment. I would love
probably
that
would have worked
alternate
in
history.
Louisiana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
'cause
mean,
it's
they kind of got
French.
the aesthetics. Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been any less constitutional than what they did.
No,
The
he probably
Louisiana
would have been
Purchase.
like a benevolent dictator. Honestly, I don't know.
Yes, but I think that with all seats of power, they get corrupted or co-opted.
Absolutely.
But a couple of things before we move on. That book Debt keeps popping up in my like suggested readings for some
Well, it's
reason.
because you follow me online, and I just did an episode about it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that must be. I missed that episode. How did I miss that episode? Oh, was it with Pruitt?
Yes, Dalton.
okay.
Shouts
Yeah,
out Dalton.
A Scent of Money. Have you read that or watched it? I heard it's
Nope.
surprisingly good for being not Neil Ferguson.
No.
So I'll have to see if that's any good. I have it on my shelf somewhere. And then before you said something a while ago, like they said it kills the strapping people. I don't remember it saying that it killed the strong and strapping people war in the report from Iron Mountain. I remember it saying it kills the young and fit men.
True.
And that is true what it does. And boy, did COVID solve that one problem there. Like the only problem with war is that it doesn't kill
Oh, I see what you're
Right.
saying. Yeah.
old people and disabled people, children who are prone to cancer before they procreate. That was one of the things they
Sure.
wanted
Yeah.
to accomplish. And it does all of those things. And they even had in England, maybe it's not true, but I've heard reported many times that the people who had Down syndrome and other handicaps were subject to an automatic DNR, do not resuscitate, during COVID in England. And I know
old
plenty
people,
of people
yeah.
like that were killed. Yeah, here. But that's
And it was
very
meant to not hurt Jewish people. You remember that? He said that?
Did
Who
he
said that?
say that?
No, yeah. I mean, remember they said he was anti-Semitic for it, even though he was saying, thank God.
Oh my gosh. I've heard that. There's
Who said that?
like
RFK.
RFK. That's the
Did he?
RFK
All right.
voice. You know what my theory about RFK and plenty of people in the alt media is that they were the losers and So they got the booby prize to be like they make it to the world stage, but they have to be the villain.
I see what
Right.
you're
I have a
saying. Yeah.
book about RFK. My husband, sometimes he uses my office and he turns all the books around. So,
Dude,
So he doesn't have to look at that ghoulish visage, maybe.
so other people, no, so other people can't read the bindings.
right.
So then I have to go turn and it mixes everything up. So I can't find my RFK book was at the ready.
But yeah, Monica, you need to come on and do the when we do Ivanhoe, you should be on that because that is about that as well.
Killing the
I would
young.
love to, but I worry about dominating the William episodes.
It's about I don't worry about it. It's about
People do enjoy the comfy trio.
yeah.
I've gotten so many good. I can't believe people. I feel like I'm a little not comfortable enough with offensive slurs to be part of the gang.
No, it's your reaction to them is
Part of the
good.
fun.
You know what? I will say this also for Patrick as episodes. I enjoy that William is full pedal to the metal with my being racist, but Patrick pushes back on it. So I think it creates a fun dynamic where he's always like,
He
"Oh,
gets,
come on."
Uncomfortable with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
a
think
little
it's terrible manners.
Yeah, I do.
It's
have
terrible
bad
manners.
Yeah.
How could you do that? It's awful. It's awful. You're the
You're
problem.
right. You're right. Do you want to hear my theory on ghosts? I think I have told you this before, off air maybe, but my theory on ghosts is ghosts don't exist, first of all. That is that's
I'm with
my
you.
belief. And the entire idea of ghosts springs from the idea that there are haunted places. And haunted places in reality are places where the seedy, undocumented underbelly, criminal underbelly utilize local myth about something bad happens. So let's say some sort of village-wide, like almost Gerardian sacrifice event occurs, and there's a bad reputation of like a place, an old mill, what have you. And then there becomes a local legend of people saying, "Oh, that's a bad place. We don't go there." So criminals go, "We're gonna go there to do criminal stuff."
Right. Right.
And so whenever regular people come around that area and they see someone there, they go, "Dude, I saw the ghost." And then that's a self-licking ice cream cone
Yeah,
kind
of
of thing.
course.
Where
Of
it's like
course.
now
Yeah,
the
that's
criminals
great.
can continue being criminal, and also this
Scare
idea
people
of
away.
ghosts can sort of further permeates into the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, that is
That's my theory on ghosts.
I like
Good
it.
theory.
I think
Yeah.
it's did you base it on anything more than just sounds good?
No.
Oh, also, he likes the sound of it.
I like the sound
It
of it
does.
as well. So
No, I like the sound of it. Yeah, no, it sounds good. It's certainly the best theory.
Well, we
so
know
far.
ghosts don't exist.
Right.
So I mean, I'm starting from a foundation of truth.
Yeah.
I was surprised to find that Catholicism really believes in angels.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought I have a guardian angel, and I kind of, I guess, committed the sin of thinking that was sort of
Silly. Yeah.
metaphorical, like sort of just like makes you feel good, like a whatever, an invisible friend. But no, sirree. And my friend who's a priest said that when you get ordained, you get a second one
Really?
and you can send it to people.
Wow.
Well, it seems like a pyramid scheme.
It's a little much. It's a little much. And I love him and he listens to every episode. So I'm sure I'm going to get the real answers. And I count on, I'll tell you, when the chips are down, I ask him for his extra guardian angel and it's never let me down.
Yeah. All
me say
right.
that.
Well, sounds right. And I like.
Angels.
I'll tell you this. Doesn't sound right, but I do like the sound of it. So 50% true. I'm calling it
Okay.
50% true.
No ghosts, maybe angels. Okay, I'm with you.
But yeah, so that's my theory on ghosts. Yeah, I have all kinds of no fun angles, the ways to ruin other people's fun.
Yeah.
I don't like the woo-woo stuff. I think that that's part of the podcasting, like the corruption of
Yeah, I agree with
podcasting.
that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's definitely a side. It makes you look dumb when you're talking about genocide in Israel or genocide in Gaza, and then go, also ghosts are real.
And
Yeah.
but
You're
it's
an
such
asshole.
such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you really spend a lot of time on that, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't get you anywhere.
But we all know that the real, you can tell the real right wing media people because they're the ones pushing what they call it, psychotropic drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. Right.
That is so mental.
Well, I
No,
think
I
the
know.
problem is that it is very much so becoming part of the broader mass culture now is the acceptance
Yeah,
of
on
that.
purpose.
So yeah, I mean, like, look, I unfortunately count myself within the right-wing podcast sphere,
Yeah.
and I too have in my past experimented with psychotropic drugs, obviously,
Yeah, but you don't go on
and
the
talked
show
about it.
telling people how cool they are.
I don't. Yes, that's a good point. But that said, you could, so if you were a real hardliner about it, you could be like, well, everything Scott says is bullshit because he's one of these guys who, scrambled his brains with experimental drugs or whatever when he was a 20-year-old.
Well, there's something to that, isn't there? No one's saying we're perfect.
Yeah, I know. I do. I'm mea culpa. I do have a lot of downsides. I haven't been a perfect angel my entire life.
But this is something that when pot went legal in Colorado, which was
Mhm.
like 2013, and I
know.
had a radio show.
As a
I remember I
teenager.
looked into that. I immediately was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
That a policy changed and it's going to cascade across the country because a policy changed. They decided something different.
Peter
And I
Thiel
was,
invested in it.
well, George Soros put $4 million into the lobbying effort.
That
there.
was it too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
Drug Research Policy Center, I think it's called, was the name of the organization he spun up for
I don't
it.
know. It was
Sorry to
in
interrupt
John-
you. I just was giving a
yeah.
little receipts here.
It was in John Coleman's book years ago in the 90s. I remember the Committee of 300. He had a couple of things that I was like, no way. He said, drugs are going to be illegal. Basically, porn is going to be on display and people in tuxedos are going to be clapping. I'm not going to name the music event I go to every year that's definitely
Right, yeah.
true. And like the things that separate us from the parliamentary system will start to erode, like simple majorities. The purse strings will not be in the hands of the House and stuff like that, which is true. Which like these budgets,
Yeah,
but
that's old news now. Yeah.
no, I know, but I remember those three things. I was like, no, 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 and they all
Yeah.
have actually come true. And the thing is, though, the problem with this, like I'm going to call it liberalization, doesn't really mean that, but is drugs and guns and whatever, is once you have a regime of total control for 2 generations or more, in my opinion, you've disconnected any heirloom wisdom that the people have, that the culture has. So you're
Right.
all of a sudden, what would happen if all of a sudden every 12-year-old in the country had a rifle? Like some people would get hurt. But
Yeah.
Right.
back in the day, in the so-called Wild West, every 12-year-old did have a rifle
Right.
because he was the only guy who was, mining the farm. Same thing with the drugs. Like now, all of a sudden, they regulate it, which I was never a fan of, and you can't just grow weed and sell it like flowers in a bushel in front of your house. You have to like hyper concentrate it, and now all of a sudden, now it's worse than pharma, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really
You can grow your own weed in Massachusetts,
You can, but you can't. That's not how it's disseminated. And
No, it's not. You're right about
It's-
that. It's
it's
an
a
Apple store.
shame.
I've been in there. It's like an Apple store. You go in there,
Yeah.
they got like glass cases
Yep.
and shit.
you
They
point
got
to it. You can
people
bring your
with
little
ear-
piece of
with their
paper. Yeah.
yeah, and then they got like people with the gauged ears and
Yeah.
and cool t-shirts and stuff working there.
Yeah. But it's a weaponization of liberty, and it's really, it bothers me because it makes me feel like it's, we're past the point where we're going to simply restore the Constitution, and those soldiers ain't just marching back out.
Yeah.
No.
And
Constitution is I'm a Spoonerite. I hate the Constitution.
I used to be like that, and I prefer the Articles of Confederation. And be it one thing or the other, we see what it led us to. However, it is a powerful restraint. For the entire world.
Sure.
That thin parchment line does keep us. It's the same thing with why I like Catholicism or the Ten Commandments, the Bill of Rights. Even if it's not the perfect system, it's internally coherent and it's objectively available for everyone to set their expectations and their aspirations for behavior. And that's really important because that's how you avoid that eclecticism that allows society to really disintegrate.
Yeah. I've been saying this for a while, I think. I think I've said it on the show. Certainly on an old me and William bonus episode where we would like cover weekly news items. Um, but my theory is that even here in Massachusetts, which is notably has some of the worst gun laws in the country, I think we're going to see on the federal level, on the Supreme Court level, I think there's going to be a total re prohibition on gun sales. I think we're going to see a golden age of gun ownership in America. However, I think you're going to see a complete rescinding of any and all self-defense rights. And you're not going to be able to use a gun in self-defense, except under like extreme, insane circumstances, like I don't
Not
I don't
Bernie
want to.
gets.
Yeah, no more Bernie gets for sure. But I think that there's gonna be like a massive golden age in gun ownership in the future, and even states like Massachusetts are gonna have to honor these lax gun laws. However, they're gonna take away any and all rights you have to
That's an interesting
self-defense,
point. What
and it's
makes you
just
think
gonna
that?
be a recreational thing, because it's capitalism. They can make money off of guns, and
No,
the
but
real
why do you think
danger.
that how are we going to lose those rights?
Because they're just gonna, it's never gonna, you're gonna take it to court and lose every time because of activist judges.
That's
That's
what they
really
do in
what.
that's what they do in Canada. You're
That's
not
what they do
allowed to
now in
defend. If
America.
someone breaks into your house, you're not allowed to shoot them
Yeah,
or hurt them.
Massachusetts, you can't shoot them unless they're literally menacing you with a weapon.
I
Um,
fear that there's going to be. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say though, but I can't remember the guy's name. I feel like shit about it. A guy, he's still in prison right now. This guy is a story. A few years ago is the year. It's 2022 or it's late 2021, but he was in the South. In the South, this is where it's really despicable.
Yeah.
In the South, he's at a bar with his fiance, and they're outside smoking ciggies. They're outside smoking ciggies, and this guy, black fella, comes up to him. And by the way, he had a viral TikTok moment. This guy, and so this is why the whole thing's suspect. But
Yes.
regardless, he starts hitting on the girlfriend and the fiance, whatever, and bro is smoking a ciggy. He doesn't even notice at first, and she starts getting like, "Get the hell away from me," kind of thing. And he's being aggressive with her. And the guy says, "Hey, man, stay away from my chick." And the guy starts pushing him, shoving him, pushes him to the ground. The guy pulls out his concealed carry, utilizes it, shoots a guy. He didn't die on the scene. He died in the hospital. But he's now serving a 7-year sentence. Couldn't be more cut and dry self-defense situation. You're on the ground. Guy was massively larger than him. It's an absolute cut and dry case of self-defense, and he's spending 7 years in prison. I told my friend Jared, who's a frequent guest on the show, and I've even listened to any of his episodes before, about the story as it happened, and he said to me, he's a great guy. And I love that he has this sort of worldview, is that he said, "Scott, there's no way he's not going to walk on this. He's going to walk." He looked at the facts of the case and he said, "There's no way. This is so cut and dry. He will walk on this." And I said, "I don't know, Jared. I got to tell you, I think the characters or the figures in the pieces in motion don't indicate to me that he will walk on it." And no, indeed, he is now serving a 7-year. Of course, he'll only serve 3 years, of course,
Yeah,
but
it's a
3
terrible
years of
precedent.
his late 20s, and he just got engaged to like a chick way out of his league.
Oh, that's right. But that demonstrates why the stats on how many crimes are prevented by
Yeah.
guns
Agree.
through the roof. Like it can't even be a comparison.
Which is why they got to take it away.
Yeah.
Yes,
Or
and
for
then-
anarcho tyranny to work properly.
Right.
Yes.
And I fear for Vermont. Vermont has very high loose gun laws, high rate of ownership, the lowest homicide rate in the country, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm afraid of the heirloom wisdom problem because they're getting a lot of immigration that they're signing up for from countries that do
Somalia.
not have a similar history. Kenya,
Yep.
I think.
Oh, both, I think. But yeah, Maine has just been
And they're
hit
super
with
nice people. Like
Somalians.
they have lovely, the culture seems very nice as a subculture.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, I mean, in my experience there, the coffee shops and stuff, like I've got no problem. But Vermont is unique
Yeah.
in
I spent
having
my
that culture.
summers in Vermont as a kid.
Yeah, and they can handle it. They have that it's perfect, but that has to go. And I, they can't have that stat. It's like Switzerland.
Yeah.
You just can't have that stat.
Yeah,
Well,
it's working on New Hampshire too.
But it's not even just gun ownership; it's rural populations that they were targeting.
Right, yeah.
So
Oh, good
a
point.
few years ago, they started. I mean, I never saw any of it, but they said, "Oh, people in the countryside are racist." So, and this is a conservative government that set this up, by the way. And if the countryside are racist, we're going to have to send market researchers out to canvass people's attitudes in pubs and the few remaining pubs and whatnot. And I don't think that ever really took off. But then the next thing that comes in is, easier way to do it is just inheritance tax on farmers.
Oh, that is the origin of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
checks out.
It's to destroy, because like I get my potatoes from a big potato grower and farmer who's grower and merchant who's based near here. And he has a lot of guys working for him, including some young guys. And sometimes I show up to get my potatoes, and it's because he doesn't actually sell them from the thing. It's just I know the guy. And the youngsters that work for him, when they're on their lunch break, all they talk about is hair coursing, fishing, shooting, going out in the countryside and killing things, taking them home and eating them. And that can't be allowed to stand.
Salt of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no,
I really love listening to those guys, because it's like these are just like the kids when I was a kid and the kids when my dad was. They're just
like
that's
this,
what they're supposed to be into.
Right.
It really works. I mean, you get out there and they're occupied. That's why I was just realizing, like, ADHD is, I know, like, it was like, we'll just
fishing
let the
is a
kids
cure
run
for
around.
that.
Yes, it's actually just a personality
It's a school.
type.
No, it's school sucks.
Yeah,
is what it is.
But it's just, energetic people. But it's nothing. It's just a personality type that's not committed.
I was an experimental case in being given Adderall. I was one of the first Americans to be given Adderall. Yeah.
And how'd that work out for you?
Terribly.
Yeah. So my husband
fried my brains.
Took Ritalin when he was a kid, and I could tell my daughter had whatever that was, and I'm like, I ain't getting this diagnosed, because then they'll pressure you to do that. And she would even want it. And I told her later, she's like, oh, I was so miserable. And she said, but I'm glad you didn't do that. That would have been so much worse. I was like, okay. Yeah. But you can just tell they just have a personality type. But I'm saying such a personality type is extremely useful when there's a lot to do and you've got a lot of ground to cover, and and they're very externally oriented, like they pick up cues from the environment and stuff. It's just a colic. I feel like it's a colic humor or something like that.
There's a kid at my school. We did this. The whole school did this. Oh well, it was voluntary, but they did a thing called the Like Wake Walk, which starts in Osmotherley and ends in Whitby. It's 42 miles, and you got to do it in a day. And if you do, you get a
Whoa!
Yeah, and it's
42 miles in a day.
Yeah.
Base.
That is keeping up a pace.
Yeah, and we had this kid called Jonty Jones, who was, I mean, it must.
He liked to take jaunts.
They said he was hyperactive, and so we split up, with different walking paces, split up into 2 or 3 groups, and the whole way he was just running
back and forth. So he did 84 miles.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's the guy. You know, he's your scout.
16 hours I did it in. And
yeah, that's great. What's that, like 3 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah. But yeah, you get, so there's a few places where the road crosses and you have like somebody in a van meet you and have a pot of
lunch,
stew
picnic lunch,
and a cup of tea ready. But I tell you, the last few miles, mate, I could barely. I got sweaty balls, and and I got like nappy rash from it, and all I could do is sit in the minibus on the way back to school, and then just get in the bath. It was awful. Am I the only woman besides the Fed who's ever even been on this show?
Yeah, no, we had one Syrian woman on. She was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, because the sweaty balls, anyway, I can't get that.
I was only a little boy. There was nothing offensive about
how
them.
old were you, actually?
12 or 13. Or something.
Wow, that is a lot of ground to cover. But yeah, 12-year-old boys have a lot of energy.
Energy, yeah.
So we didn't go anywhere with the report from Ireland. Do we have any?
Oh, I have one more thought on it,
Yeah,
actually.
okay,
I was
'cause
just
we
gonna say,
gotta
so I thought the whole blood games thing was bunk. I thought that was like a scare tactic. That's sort of like, here's like the so I and you were onto something before, Monica, where you were saying like, oh, I don't want to upset the apple cart. Here's me, John Q. Public, reading this report, and I'm going, they're telling me here that if I advocate for peace, I might lose my job. I might lose all my carrot in life. And then I think on the other hand, they have the stick, which is we're gonna have to bring back slavery and have blood game.
Yes. The only tab I put in this book to talk to you guys about, and it just says Gerard.
Yeah.
Blood games, well, for sure, yeah.
It's page 103, and it says justify the need for taking and paying a blood price in wide areas of human concern, environmental pollution model, whatever. But
I think with mentioning Gerard like that, referencing Gerard like that, it also points up the fact that this is anti-Christian. This
Big
way
time.
of thinking is in fact blasphemous, because that whole talking about ancient civilizations, yeah, but they're pre-Christian civilizations. We're supposed to be a Christian civilization, and therefore everything you're saying in this book is blasphemy. End of story. In fact, Scott sent me a screenshot.
I'm literally just pulled that screenshot up now to read. Yeah.
So that screen, I said I read it twice. That's not quite true, because I read it as far as that the first time, and then I thought, fuck this.
Yeah. One of those. Yeah.
And then when I read it the second time, and I opened it up, and that's where it was. I was like, oh, I didn't finish.
Oh yeah, now I know.
Good job I'm reading it again. Yeah. So,
but yeah, so I screenshotted this line here, and I go this. So I'll read it to you, and then I'll say what I said to William. War as an ideological clarifier. So this is the segment of the book where it's saying this is why we can't get away from war, and this is its evidence right here. War is an ideological clarifier. The dualism that characterized the traditional dialectic of all branches of philosophy and of stable political relationships stems from war as the prototype of conflict. Except for secondary considerations, there cannot be, to put it as simply as possible, more than two sides to a question, because there cannot be more than two sides to a war. And I said to William, this is just like a fundamental intentional misreading of Gerard, because the Gerard framework is this idea that all conflict is it's based around like brotherly competition, essentially, is like the archetype that we look at, and it's not war. And actually he says that war is the consequence. War can be a consequence of this mimetic struggle getting out of hand. Essentially, it's a societally wide.
But this is before Gerard.
I agree with that, but in the same breath, Gerard, in his own words, is saying, "I'm not coming up with anything at all. This is
I'm reflecting. Yeah,
this is reality."
Nice,
and I
nice,
agree
nice,
with that.
Nice, yeah,
yeah. But yeah, so I think this idea that it's war is like the base relationship, and Gerard's whole thing is like, no, dude, look at the Bible. This is our foundational document for which all of society is based around. Is what is the first conflict? It's Cain and Abel. These guys who are jealous of each other, and they're literal brothers. That is the origin of the conflict of man versus man, not war, not two societies. It's fallacious because it assumes that people automatically organize into governments, which is not true.
Yeah, and you know what's really fallacious about it, and you can get it from Against the Grain. I've heard William say it. I've observed it myself. In my opinion, war is just about deciding which of the border farms you get to take the taxes from.
Yeah.
Sure. There's something to that. Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's it. And then whatever, we can keep going. But I have something on this vein that I must ask you if we can.
Go on.
It's totally anti-Christian. I noticed that the first time I ever read it, it was like the lack of morality here, of even recognizing an inherent morality is wrong. It's wrong. And not only wrong, but incorrect.
Yep.
And then, but the teal, so I block this out. Things about teal, I totally block out. Because I'm
wish I could
constantly
block his face out of my head.
shocked by like his Leo Strauss stuff. He went to Stanford Law School, which bums me out and weirds me out. And I thought for a minute like it was at the same time, but I think no, he was before my time, thank God. I hate to date myself, as they say, but he was a student of Girard.
Of Girard's, yeah.
So yeah, I realized that's probably why I went down there. Oh, because of J.D. Vance. That
Yeah.
is why I went down that rabbit hole in the first place. But he reminds me of Soros, even forgetting that. But he reminds me of Soros because Soros and Thiel were both philosophy guys who were obviously the great students of the people whose philosophies they were going to exploit to reshape political things, and were for that reason made rich in ways that came from the power structure, from the government or whatever, so that they could have this influence. But I think you're a fan of Girard, yet Thiel, what?
I love him.
Yeah. So Thiel bastardizes it. Now we have like J.D. Vance converts to Catholicism. I think I've probably even asked you guys this question before. I cannot get my brain around this Catholic integralism fuckery. And I told you the guy who wrote conspiracy theories that invented cognitive infiltration. The co-author with Cass Sunstein was Adrian Vermeule, the Harvard professor that pioneered Catholic integralism, which is Christian nationalism in the U.S., but using Catholicism as the basis of informing policy. And this, so what the fuck? Like, how does Thiel,
I have an
Girard...
answer. It's a little bit long-winded, so forgive me, but I have an answer for this that I can explain it fully. This is what they do. This is what the deep state does. They syncretize the leading philosophers of the time, and they utilize it to reverse engineer psychology of the people who are the most threatening to them. So in the 1970s, the CIA absolutely latched on. I was talking about Foucault earlier. The CIA read Foucault.
Definitely, yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, how do we reverse engineer this to like hijack the brains of the left for the next 30 years? And they did it. Now, just now, I've noticed, I follow all kinds of leftist sites. There's a bunch of Telegram groups that are like straight up communists that post memes that are like of relevance to me. But regardless, they're having this sort of moment in the left right now where they're realizing, oh my God, us spending all these years reading Baudrillard, Lacan, Foucault, we just fell right into the left's, or fell right into the deep state's hands by doing this. There's no, they go, we spent the last 40 years discussing navel gazing bullshit. And not, unionizing, spreading the word about underprivileged people around the world, and, whatever, educating people on the exploitative aspects of banking and et cetera, and immigration. They lost the fucking script.
Yeah.
How the hell am I, Mr. fucking right-wing chud? How am I have a better, more principled left-wing stance on banking than communists? Yes. How did that happen?
And immigration, which is a way to suppress wages.
Yes. And that's all Foucault crap. That's all post-structuralist bullshit where they got their brains hijacked by the idea that no humans, it should be illegal. Now, good job. You fucking lost your wages, dumbass. That's how you lose.
And it took, and I was looking into Foucault because I was flabbergasted, marveled at the fact that Trump managed, after 40 years of trying, to bring identity politics to the right.
Yeah.
So now it's all over.
The Peter Thiel angle here is he's tapping into something. By the way, Foucault is dead right about everything he ever said. However, they utilize Peter Thiel is the new generation of the CIA. They've privatized it basically, and this is the new thing. They're going to utilize the very true things that Girard said. It's right on the executive level. It's being implemented in order to reverse engineer what is factual and in our brains. And I don't know what the future is going to look like in light of that, to be honest with you. I assume there'll be some sort of social technology utilizing AI. They got me already, dude. I use the stuff all the time.
I know, it bums me out. I won't do it. I think it lacks soul. So you made something for our little movie thing, and I sent it to JJ Boogie, and I was like, can you make this have soul? So he made something with soul. But yeah, I know. I mean, but here's the thing. The AI thing bothers me because you've got all these people on the right defending Trump for putting this foot on the accelerator. Part of the thing is
they're
like
getting paid.
suspend local laws. No, I mean like MAG people. Just anyone who defends Trump, they'll give this a pass when they would go bananas if it was something from the left.
They just want to own the libs, man. They don't have political ideas.
It's crazy. If you read the AI stuff that comes out of the White House right now, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's suspending regulations. It's forcing states to adhere to federal model policy, whatever. It's fast tracking all the energy that people used to think was scary energy. And it's part of it is to disseminate it to all other countries. And it starts the whole thing, 28 pages here, 4 pages there. The whole thing starts with one sentence: in order to make America great again. And then it just cascades to all this shit that clearly gives all of this like weaponry to other countries and enriches oligarchs. And it's just insanity. And they say, well, it's inevitable, so you have to get ahead of it. I'm like, it's not inevitable. We're the ones who pay it. And I will give you a warning right now. It is going to create intentionally, like they don't care, a massive like .com style bust because they're encouraging tons and tons of investment that they know 90% of it will be sterile. But they'll get what they need. It's like crowdsourcing, like DOSNet. It's like it's crowdsourcing all this shit, even though it will destroy, which they're happy about. They want it to absorb all the resources of society and make things go bankrupt. And now I got a hard out in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I was pretty much done anyway. So, you want to promote anything to the peeps?
At Monica Perez Show, everywhere. I do my little books. This is one of them. I do an interview, and I've got to bring back my newsreels because there's so much going on that you can see from the mainstream media and the side stream media and alt media and all that is misinterpreted as if there's only ever two sides to an issue, and those two sides are the same side. So I have to, as a service to humanity, contribute my news analysis, but it's not going to happen until the end of the summer. But in the meanwhile, I have 1,000 shows that you can listen to at Monica Perez Show.
Nice. Cool. And for us, www.historyhomos.com. The History Homos wiki is in production. William, I forgot to tell you about this.
What?
Oh, right, cool.
The History Homos wiki is in production. It's going to be a long process, but again, it's not just going to be a wiki for the show, jokes and stuff. It will be a larger resource for the conspiracy-minded consumer.
I have a glossary on my website that might have some fun entries. I'm happy. I
would love to
yes,
I would love to contribute, to have that incorporate that rather. But either way, so www.historyhomos.com for the time being is our home base. We will be moving to the History Homos wiki at some point, but that's the RSS feed. We're also available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, Rockfin, and most importantly, www.historyhomospod.substack.com. Currently number 6 on the rising charts in history.
Isn't that amazing?
On Substack. Please join the History Homos revolution. We will overtake Zionist shills Curtis Yarvin and Daryl Cooper. We will be the number 1 history show on Substack someday. Mark my word. And so please, if you like the show, you will get 100% more show. We do movie reviews, book reviews, all kinds of awesome content. It is exactly what you get here, even sometimes more focused, if you can believe it. So please check that out. It's the best way to support the show. And you can also follow us across social media at History Homos Pod. And you can join us in our Telegram group at time of recording, still friendliest place on the internet. We always say good morning to each other. T.me/historyhomos is the channel. T.me/historyhomos chat is the chat. And die with dignity. Oh, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you'd like to buy a History Homos t-shirt, email me your size and address.
Doesn't William get a parting word?
It's happening.
Yeah, it comes at the end.
It comes at the end. And email me at historyhomos@gmail.com. And William, you want to say die with dignity? William, you want to say anything before we go?
Well, I do. I want to plug my YouTube channel, which has just got a first video on it in 3 years. So if you've ever wondered how to stop the windows on your boat leaking, I made a video showing you how to fix it. So that's a cheap car.
Cheap guitars, cheap. Yeah.
Cheap car.
On what?
State
What's
of
the
mind.
channel name?
Cheap car state of mind on YouTube.
Cheap
There you
guitar.
go. Check it out.
Cheap car state of mind. Die with
Bye,
dignity
guys.
and bye later.
Cold halls where the shadows bend.